So welcome to my basement, guys. Today we're talking about soundproofing, specifically because I've done soundproofing videos before, right? And they were very traditional along the lines of what the technology was at the time. But over the last few years, there have been some changes. There's new technology on the market. And so I'm going to share that with you today. But on top of that, going through all the comment section, I see a lot of people have got the same questions. They're like, well, am I going to be happy if I what's the best option? There's a lot of confusion. What is the best way to soundproof? Don't make any noise. Right? Like, let's face it. There are cost-benefit returns going on here. The more you invest, the better result you get. And it's hard for a lot of people to understand, what's a good investment and what kind of result am I going to get? So today what we're going to attempt to do is go through a variety of different installations, the good, better, the best, and the ultimate. We're going to give you price per square foot on material for all that. We're going to show you how simple it is to install it. And I'm also going to talk about why things are changing and why maybe the building code needs to change along with it. So first of all, most people have soundproofing issues for two reasons. One, they're in the basement and they're trying to make it a livable space. And you have something like this, right? You've got floor joists and strapping and wiring. You probably have ductwork as well. And you're like, how do I soundproof that? The other thing that they're dealing with is they got a soundproof between the walls in bedrooms. Now, we did a video about how to make the ultimate wall soundproofing system. Minor modifications, you can adapt the same technology with existing walls and get really good results, okay? Better than what the soundproofing measures for STC, sound transmission control between rooms in like townhouse units. And that's only rated at a 50. So you got to check out that video. I'll put the video link in the description if you haven't seen it yet, because that's amazing technology. And if you're going to be building a theater in your basement or a sound studio, or you've got a drum kit and you want to be able to beat the living daylights out of it, but you need it to be quiet, if you build a wall assembly like that video and you complete it with a ceiling assembly like we're going to show you today, it's guaranteed to be the quietest way that you can finish off your house without massive investments, okay? And this is the key. Most people are looking for something in the soundproofing world that isn't going to cost them $10 or $15 a square foot. And yes, it can get that expensive. So let's go through the options right now. First of all, when you're dealing with soundproofing, you're dealing with the science of stopping a sound wave, and sound wave travels through air, okay? So whenever you have an open floor situation like this is really easy for sound to travel. There's lots of air, and the wood material goes from the floor above and comes all the way down to the ceiling. So what everybody's been talking about is the way you stop that is you put in insulation, all right? Here we go. Now, fiberglass insulation runs you about $1 a square foot, material-wise. Now, for $1 a square foot, it does a pretty darn good job. Just one layer of insulation, and then you put 5/8 drywall back on top, gets you to STC 50. We're using R22 insulation here. That's the rating that we use in the commercial world to separate sound noise from one unit to the next so that you hear them talking and arguing and bickering, you just don't understand what they're saying. So, the next step up for soundproofing, because this is one layer of insulation and then drywall, is to put a second layer of insulation. Again, it's another $1, okay? And it does a fabulous job of adding more density, more fibers, because a wave comes at it, and every time a wave hits a fiber, it changes direction. You just added 8 million fibers in that space. So the sound is no longer a wave. It's dissipating quickly. And then what we recommend is you take your 5/8 drywall, and you'll mount it right up over top of all that, all right? So you've got strapping, and you've got drywall. You just put in your screws and you tape your joints and you go. 2 layers of insulation plus drywall is now at about $3 a square foot for your material cost. And this will give you an STC rating of close to 60, okay? So you're better than the average bear. But, and here's the big but. As a homeowner looking to soundproof, you're stuck going, is 60 good enough? Right? Because you've never had a soundproof ceiling before. They don't exist in homes. So you have no practical experience to know how to apply it. And so what most people do is they start going out and they spend lots and lots of extra money going way over top, and it's not needed. So let's talk about the options to beef it up a little bit. Because let's remember, You know, we used to just use a bedroom to go to sleep. Now every bedroom in the house is a personal entertainment center. There's televisions, there's gaming systems, right? You've got kids on the headphones and they're talking to each other. There's a lot more noise being generated in different rooms in the house that didn't used to have it. You're working from home, you've got office space, you've got music rooms, you've got the theater downstairs. We've got to get efficient at understanding how much we need in soundproofing between units. And I'm going to do it in the way of dollars and cents so you can decide if it's worth the investment. That's $3 a square foot. Okay? If you're doing a 12 by 12 room, that's 144 square feet times 3. Boom. $425 give or take. And you can do your ceiling. Okay? You put it in terms of that, that seems affordable. Come on, Jeff, let's go to the next level. What else you got? What's the new technology? Because I can do 400. Maybe I want to go to 500. Maybe I want to go to 700 or 800. Let's talk about those options. So thank God Max is my videographer. He just brought up a really interesting point. We're going to show you something here. Traditional drywall in residential is 1/2 inch. Okay, it's called ultra light. And it does not have fiberglass fibers in the drywall compound. When we talk about 5/8 or soundproofing drywall, we're talking about 5/8 drywall. It's commercial drywall, okay? Now, traditionally in commercial buildings, you don't hear people in the next room because they're using insulation in the walls and using 2 layers of 5/8 on the wall. This stuff here has got all kinds of fiberglass fibers in it. It's the same fiberglass that's in the pink insulation, okay? And so what this does is, again, it's another barrier for any sound that's coming through, found air between your insulation. It hits this and it diffuses it again, and it helps keep everything quiet. The difference in cost between 1/2 inch drywall and 5/8 drywall is pennies, all right? It's not that much. So it might be $3 to $5 a sheet difference, not a really big investment. So since you're gonna have to put drywall back anyway, I'm gonna recommend always go with the 5/8. Now I know the 1/2 inch is easier to work with because it's ultra light, but if you're going to put up the 5/8 and you're going to have 12-foot panels, rent yourself a lift or grab yourself 1 or 2 friends, have them come and give you a hand to install that, okay? Because it's definitely worth the investment. If you've rented a lift or friends and you're going to be installing your ceiling. So good insulation is going to be 1 layer, okay, with 5/8 drywall. That's a good place to start with soundproofing. That will give you a little bit of privacy and you'll be able to have a conversation, and you won't be able, if someone's upstairs and you have an office in the basement, let's say, you're not going to be that distracted and they're not going to be able to hear what's going on in your conversation. The better way to do it is go 2 layers of insulation with the 5/8 drywall, okay? That's $3 now a square foot, 3 different components. The next step up would be to go to 2 layers of drywall, believe it or not. And the reason why that's so effective is because, again, drywall is only $1 a square foot, and you only have to do the taping on the one finished surface, and you're going to have to do that anyway. So adding a second layer just means you got to buy a bag of longer screws. Just make sure that every time you make your assembly thicker, you're taking into the full account of the assembly, plus the wood that you're going into, okay? So that your screws aren't penetrating and nicking your wires. Because you're not going to see any of this once you start closing your ceiling, okay? So make sure you're not putting in a screw that's too long. If you haven't seen this product before, this is the next layer of defense, okay? I'm going to recommend this product until the day I die. I haven't seen anything better on the market. Yes, I think it's better than vinyl mass, all right, or mass vinyl sheet, and I'll show you why right here in a quick demonstration. This stuff is lightweight. It's a 3/4 inch fiberboard. Probably should be using a mass to work with it, all right? But it's lighter than drywall, slightly, and you can just screw it right to the ceiling. I'm using flooring screws here, actually, because I love the Robertson head. Okay, that's with 2 screws. This panel comes in 4 by 8 foot sheets. And so it is really convenient because that's it. Nothing to it, right? It adds 3/4 to the ceiling. You still need drywall. And it runs about $1 a square foot. So now we got 2 layers of insulation, $2. Sauna pan, $3. And then a sheet of drywall is $4. You can go to $5 a square foot and put in 2 sheets of drywall. You could even go to $6 a square foot and add green glue in between the 2 sheets of drywall. All right? Now you're dealing with 2 sheets of drywall plus this 3/4 board. Depending on the height of your basement, you might have to consider maybe not going that extreme, okay? Now, the only other thing people are asking me all the time is, what about putting in lighting? How do I put in lighting in a ceiling and still get soundproofing, right? Because if I start cutting holes and putting in lights, I'm destroying my soundproofing, and I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. All right, today's shout out, guys. Yeah, it's Kelly. Kelly did her basement remodel, put brand new flooring everywhere. Now, flooring is not a difficult project, but on a huge scale, it is a major undertaking. I'm proud of you, Kelly. You did a great job. Thanks for inspiring other people with sharing your picture. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook, guys, and put in your submissions. You could be next and get a shout out from us too. Cheers, now let's get back to the video. Now, before I show you how to make a soundproof box for your lights, listen, we are not sponsored in this video, right? The only sponsors we have are our members. So if you're not a member yet, consider joining so you don't have to watch 3-minute stupid commercials. Think about it. Secondly, the reason we're showing the Soundpan is because it's available in Canada. To the best of my knowledge, it's not available in the States right now. If you know differently, then please hit up the comment section. Let us know where you go to buy it, okay? I'd love to keep track of that, especially when this video, is coming out over the next few years. The Soundpan is available in Canada. The mass vinyl isn't. But the mass vinyl is available in the States. So you might have to follow the older technology for the next little while until this is available in your market. Okay, now this is a light fixture. It's gonna go, we have to make a hole that's almost as big as the whole light fixture, right, in the drywall. And if you're going 2 layers, it's the same thing, right? You actually have to have a hole in the first layer of drywall. There's room for clips. So if it's a 6-inch light, you drill an 8-inch hole on your first layer of drywall. So then the second layer of drywall that's underneath, you put in the 6-inch hole to pop the light in. But now you've destroyed your drywall barrier, right? And how are you gonna deal with that? And if you have Soundpan right here as well, you're gonna end up cutting through all 3 layers to put in a light. So what we do is this. You mark off where you want your lights. So I wanna put a light right here, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure the inside dimension of my joist. And that's 10 and just under a half, okay? So I want to cut a piece of the Soundpan, just under the 10.5 mark. I know, this is not a fiberboard like you're used to. This is incredibly dense. I'm going to take this board, place it in between the joist cavities and just above. All right, now, you put this where all of your lights are gonna go. So you're gonna run your wires, you're gonna put a grommet on your box, and you're gonna have your box, right? And then you wanna just go like this and put your box in the ceiling, okay? And you can even screw it in place or whatever you wanna do, all right? Now, if your light's supposed to be here, the wire isn't long enough, is it? So what you have to do is you've gotta push this up, all right? And then you want to push this up. You want to take a couple more pieces. You cut like at 2 inches, okay? And you want to put it on both sides. I know, it's getting really complicated, isn't it? And then you cut 2 more pieces and you put it on these sides. They'll actually screw together. Then you take a small little hole and you run your wire through the hole and you can wire your box and then you can screw it up right where you want it. It's a lot of work, but if you make one of these complete boxes out of the Soundpan first, mount your box, okay, and then your light's right where you want it, then the next sheet of drywall that goes up, like I said, you cut an 8-inch hole, you measure and mark your spot, and you can take your Dremel, and you can cut an 8-inch hole, okay? And the next sheet you go up, you mark your spot, and you put a 6-inch hole. That's how you run that. All right, quick recap. Good, better, best. Every time you add another layer of soundproofing, it gets better. It's up to you to decide how much money you want to invest. If you go to Insulation plus the Soundpan and 2 layers of drywall, make sure on those 2 layers you stagger the joints, okay? Your first 4x8 goes here, stagger the joints, all right? That helps to eliminate any air that can pass between anything. Again, air is your enemy, so every time you have a joint, use an acoustical sealant caulking and put it in the joint, right? That's really the efficiency model going on. Using pot lights with these boxes is the biggest improvement that you can do. If you go with a room light box like this, you'll never soundproof your room. Noise will always come through that box, okay? It'll drive you nuts. And you can spend thousands of dollars and have these boxes and still have a really lousy performance. It's gonna really burn your butt. Build yourself a 5-sided box out of the sauna pan, or at the very least, do it out of the 5/8 drywall, okay? Use the acoustic sealant on all the joints. Bring your wire in, wire your box right here. There is one other thing you can do as a homeowner if you are gonna do a DIY project, but you don't wanna do the drywall. And that is, you can do the insulation and the sauna pan, okay? And then you can install a drop ceiling. Now we're doing that video next, so make sure if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. When that video comes out, we can show you how, as a homeowner, all you need to be able to do is cut and measure, all right? And you can install your own drop ceiling with soundproofing panels. They're also fire rated, okay? At just 3 inches below your whole ceiling. And that is, again, another layer of soundproofing that you can do, and it eliminates the need to know how to do drywall taping. And since your ceiling is now lower than the one you ripped out, you don't have to worry about the ugly mess with the tape joints all around the outside, okay? So if you have to open up a ceiling to soundproof, putting in a drop ceiling is a great way to finish. They don't have to look cheesy and ugly like they did in the 1970s, okay? Drop ceilings have got a lot of sexy options now, especially if you're gonna be making an office in your basement. A drop ceiling is a great way to go because it gives you flexibility. You can move the lights around. You can change your wiring and schematic at any time that you want to. It's just really awesome. And it gives you lots of access to all of the plumbing and everything else upstairs, right? So consider it as an option. Now, if you want to see the traditional way of how we would soundproof using the mass-loaded vinyl and you haven't seen the video yet, you can check out the link right here, all right? Remember, you're your best contractor. You can do this yourself. But if you're hiring somebody, at least you got to know how to do it right so you can keep an eye on them too. Cheers.